Phyllis's next guest is Ron Rossnick. Ron is a producer, technology consultant, and all-around adventurer, backpacking through Asia and South America. He and television personality Vivian Gaspar produce shows that air in over 100 markets, domestically and around the world. Ron brings a special spirit to his work with clients and guests. You are watching Profunda TV with host Phyllis Haynes.
Hi, Ron. What a pleasure to have you here. I'd like the audience to know right off the bat that we are longtime friends and colleagues, but it's a pleasure to have you in this environment. So, welcome, Ron.
Thank you so much, Phyllis.
I
Yeah.
really am fascinated. You are one of my favorite people, and you are in the category of highly creative and artistic individuals, as well as thoughtful entrepreneur. How would you describe yourself? How would you, if someone said to you, "Who are you? What do you do?" How would you describe it, Ron?
I would describe myself as a timelessly curious person that wants to learn and explore and have fun and play doing it, all the while with a context of leveling up humanity and helping people.
This is important that you have this particular take on your desire. What I would say to people about you is that you are the classic entrepreneur who has gone through ups and downs and all the time helping people as you move through each cycle of your invention and curiosity. I would like to start with asking you about your most recent creation, which is Wisdom Construct. Wisdom Construct is a great title. How would you describe what it is?
Um, Wisdom Contract was created years before the media expansion that we've had on the internet. I had it as my technology consulting company, and with the thought that I was bringing in people from different areas to help solve a client's problem. So the collective wisdom and that construct for it. And I've curtailed doing technology business consulting, but I still do that. And I just thought it would be a great segue for um, a media outlet for podcasting, for a business that would still continue to help people in this uh, collective wisdom and bringing people that are really super smart and getting all that information in and assimilating it, simplifying it, and then leveling up people's joy, people's success, people's happiness.
You've been doing a regular cable program called Beyond My Crisis and Stop My Crisis. So, how does Wisdom Construct fit within the framework of those cable shows that you've created?
Well, with VRR Media Productions and VRR TV, we have several talk shows that we do, and Stop My Crisis and Beyond My Crisis were the titles of those talk shows. We have a unique imprint into 100 TV stations across the country and actually 25 countries worldwide where our content gets delivered to. This is on broadcast television, which today is going to include internet TV as well.
So Wisdom Construct is yet another program that you do. So
Yeah.
let's discuss what it is you have to offer to people. What's your what's the main problem that you solve? What is the problem that you address for people in Wisdom Construct?
Um, the problem I address is the challenges that people and businesses face today, and doing a deep dive with an expert, a subject matter expert that I would just basically have a conversation with, like I'm having a conversation with you, but we're going to go into some deep dives so people that are technical may get a lot of benefit from it, or people that really want to understand the inner workings of something rather than just a cursory overview, but simultaneously to help people that don't want to dive deep, we are creating short episodes and shorts to kind of distill some of that information.
There's a fabulous image in your um, marketing material for Wisdom Construct. It's you sitting cross-legged with lots of arms going up in the air. It's evocative of Indian art. But what I really want to know about you is, how is it that you've been able to overcome so many hurdles, so many disappointments, so many hardships, and still land on your feet and keep going? This is why I wanted to interview you. Why,
Okay.
what is it that allows you to do that?
Um, I think landing on my feet and keep going is a really important uh, thought process. And sometimes I'm falling down even in the process of it. So I've I have suffered a bit, and I think I have perspective on challenges. And if I fall into a problem, I have choices. I could either be the victim of that, or I take myself out of that role and look at it from a bigger perspective. Like the way an actor and a director uh, make a film, right? We are actors, just acting in this physical realm, in our reality. Um, and I see an opportunity to literally pause and freeze frame. And when I feel down, and this happens to me. I mean, I'm a human being that is evolving and making breakthroughs, and then falling down as as life happens. So if I pause and freeze the frame, and then take myself out of the actor role and then put myself in a director role, I look at the scene. I say, what is the outcome I want? What can I do to change that outcome? And then I'll call action and then move into it. When I first started doing this, I failed miserably at this, and and held the emotion of the event happening, whether someone was challenging me or I was faced with a dilemma. And as I continued to practice this method, it got faster and faster. I could flip a switch and just go into that and come back to reality in full frame in real time. So I would say when I'm suffering with anxiety or depression or imposter syndrome, which occurs for me, um, I'll just pause and have my director recut the next take. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. And I guess it's inspired by your study and understanding of the making of film and video. So, looking at that, how do you quiet the inner critic that shows up? How do you work to quiet your inner critic?
I am working on quieting that inner critic because I am it, I am self-critical, but in a constructive way. Like I think there's always a continuous way to be better. As some people want to continue to earn money or achieve things, I think there's ways to tweak our reality just to make improvements. So sometimes I need other people around me to help give me some checks and balances. So my friends like you and my family, I openly ask them to give me constructive criticism. And I find this to be a really important human quality for those that want to make progress in their life. I've met many people that if I give them constructive criticism when they don't ask for it, they're offended, their ego engages. And that's the key is our ego. To be aware of my ego helps me put it away for a little while just to like take on the next task with a better mindset. So I think isolating that is really important. Um, if we have enough humility to know that we are going to screw up in life, and that's okay. Like the more we screw up, the more we can accomplish as long as we make little tweaks and corrections along the way. So I'm not afraid of making mistakes and looking bad. And at the same time, I uh, I struggled with that all my life. Like, what do I need to do to not be embarrassed, to look good? And and that self-reflection in itself was a learning moment for me and continues to be.
So, what do you think are some of the common mistakes that new entrepreneurs make, or people who want to start a business? What are some classic errors I can give you one that I think is a classic error, and
Tell me,
maybe
what is one?
I think that there's overemphasis on writing the business plan. I think that people spend days and hours, and then the reality of what they have to face has very little to do with what's in the plan, but has more to do with getting up in the morning and going to the desk. You know, it is instead of getting started, they get buried in writing what I'm going to do.
And I have ADD, or some people say that that doesn't exist, but I have symptoms of that where I can get caught up exactly what you say. I face myself and I look to people and events and things that inspire me. One thing that I remember from Tom Bailu on impact theory, he's an influencer, podcaster, and he says sometimes you just got to attack the hill, which means when you have an obstacle you're going to face, stop thinking about it and just get it done. Keep going for it. And the more we think about a strategy, the less we're in action to attack that problem. So sometimes you just got to say, attack the hill. And I want young people to be able to watch this. So I'm not going to use the profanities that you can say with it. But when you attack the hill, you put your energy in and you just go for it.
So let's talk about your work a bit too, because you have wisdom construct, and that question was definitely something that you'll face with helping other business people. But one of the things that you tackle, and you and Vivian Gaspar are doing, is to help people overcome their worst fear, which is still the number one fear in this world: public speaking. So, first of all, what are people afraid of? I happen to be a pretty good public speaker. I've always been that in my life.
You're not a pretty good public speaker. You're an exceptionally excellent public speaker. And
Thank
uh, a lot of what I've learned is watching you and watching you facilitate and ask questions that are so deep and thought-provoking, but heartfelt and really connected to the conversation. So you are one of my gurus, actually. So I would say it's really important to find people in your life that are way better than you at doing it and doing the things you want to do, and that have the courage, and just ask them. Um, and what I'm also noticing is that um, people that have more experience, people that are older, are great sources of wisdom. If young people are willing to communicate with some older people with a lot of wisdom, I think they will be jump-starting themselves and getting beyond some of the challenges that they're facing. There's so
Well,
much wisdom out there.
I think the reverse is true too. And thank you for your compliment. But the reverse is true. And I see you do the reverse, which is wonderful. You have two wonderful children and
Three.
uh, three wonderful children.
Yeah.
Well, one is not a child anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I got one child now who's 16,
Right.
and then I
But
got two adults. Yeah.
the point is, I've seen you ask them for their opinion and you listen. Am I right
Oh
in
my goodness. Yes.
describing that behavior of yours?
Yeah. Um, and I've learned this along the way. I didn't know this from the get-go. One of the things, I've studied a lot of different modalities. I'm not necessarily focused on one. I'm not a zealot for any direction. But when I was studying Kabbalah, um, they said that our children choose us for the experience. And when I interpret that, I think that our children are teachers. My kids have taught me a whole different value system in life. I was shooting for money and making more money for years when I was younger. It's like that was the important thing. That's what my parents instilled, like be a doctor, be a lawyer, or be a business person and make lots of money, and then you'll be happy. I think it's the reverse. I think it's be happy, love the experience you're getting, whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, learn from it. And if it's good, learn from it and be better from it. And just my kids in conflict and not in conflict give me great value and give me joy. And I learned from them. My son, when he was about, I think maybe just barely speaking, maybe 2.5 years old, he did something which was trivial, but his emotion was so joyful. He said, I can do it. And that little child's voice saying, I can do it, has been inspiring me ever since. So I would say for people, find things that you are inspired by and either write it down or remember it and call those into action when it's time.
I know your son as well, and I would say he embodies that spirit now as a young teenager. He still has the I can do it spirit and has an entrepreneurial gene as well. He's pretty sharp, and so is your daughter, has that entrepreneurial gene. I mean, they express it differently, but I
Yeah.
really am impressed with your son. I almost consider him my nephew, even though we aren't technically
Thank you.
related. So let's go back to humanity's problems. I mean, the world is changing rapidly. We've got AI. Everybody keeps talking about the coming of AI. The fact is, it's right here, right now. And we are all in the midst of this incredibly challenging change. I mean, I'm sitting in my living room and all of a sudden I hear Alexa talking to me without me asking sometimes. I don't know. Has that happened to you where you're,
I think it interprets me saying something like that word, and I don't want to say it right now because it's going
yeah.
to start responding. And you could change that word. It could be any keyword you choose. So those people that use these systems, if you're tired of that happening, you could just change the word to something like abracadabra. And most people don't use that word on a daily basis.
No, no, I don't mean that. I mean literally. That I
So,
understand what you're saying.
so
I'm saying I'm sitting
with
quietly and my robotic support device starts talking to me.
yeah. So there's a lot of schools of thought, and there's people that are fearing progress. And
Yeah,
AI is just simply progress. It's one of humanity's tools, just like the car and the horse and buggy. What did those people on those horse and buggy say when the car started getting popular? Oh, that's junk. How can someone use it? And it totally took over. And there aren't many horse and buggies unless you go to Pennsylvania to Amish country. Um, you don't find them anymore. When computers were being made, they used these big vacuum tubes, and they would have to fill a room up just to
true.
do basic calculations that a calculator can do. And those people that don't know what a calculator is, it was like a little mini computer that can add and subtract. And I'm joking about people that don't know that. But we switched to the transistor and then the CPU, and we're packing millions, billions of vacuum tubes, transistors into a little CPU that is doing amazing computational tasks. And what is AI doing? It's just computing at a faster rate. It's collecting information and using algorithmic logic to output information that already exists. And Neil deGrasse, who is an alumni from my high school, from Bronx High School of Science, noted that the AI models have been influenced by his wisdom a lot, and he's noticed that, and he's happy about it. So if we can contribute to AI's wisdom and it can help humanity, I think that's a great thing. I had a meeting with my kids' school staff, and the subject of ChatGPT came up, OpenAI, and they were all horrified by it and criticizing it. And I had to take a step back and say, I would think you should be doing the opposite. As educators, you should be teaching children how to leverage AI, because in the real world, in my world, we use the tools that help accelerate what we want to do. And hopefully, we have a core interest in leveling up and helping humanity, helping people, helping our communities. If you're of that mindset that when we make contributions, we will get rewards ourselves, then we're doing good. AI is a tool that's designed to do good. So start using it and think about the good you can do. Think about the time you're saving. For someone that is diagnosed with ADD, I think the AI models, ChatGPT, are a savior for people because they can get you started. They can do the attack of the hill first, and then you can come up and you can clean it up.
Well, we'll have to do another show with you talking about AI because I think you have your head on right on that topic. But I do have the experience of some people being very afraid of it and judgmental and thinking we're going to lose our capacities to work because we'll be giving it all to robots in the future. But let's come back to this issue
Okay.
because you have this other quality. You are a true artist. You love music. You perform music. You've been
Yeah.
doing that for years. So why? What is there for you in that experience? What is it about music? Even my husband loves music even more than I do. So I need to know, what is it about that for you?
Yeah, I got a chill when you said that. And It's it's visceral, it's feeling, and I think one of the things about being a human being is not just do things like a robot, is to feel emotions and feel feelings. If you get a chill on the back of your neck and your hair stands up, pause for a moment and just take that in and just say, wow, I'm getting a human experience. What a great thing. And use it. Now, sometimes that could be nerves because you're nervous, you're about to do something. Like when I have to go on stage, I can be nervous. If we're prepared, you could just switch the vocabulary word from nervous to excited. When we create context for our feelings, we can amplify it and direct it in a good way. And I want to mention that this background here. This is my bass guitar and my amplifier, and I have band rehearsals here, and we get together. This is not a fake backdrop. That's real. I can go grab the bass and play. Um, I don't really like or believe in fake backdrops of like the Golden Gate Bridge or something like that. I think people should be as authentic as they can, and when you're authentic, um, you're just it's an extension of your expression. So part of my expression is music, and I love it. And I can't really move it around and get another studio right now. And I said, let's just work with it. So let me just set this up and make this look fun. And music is visceral for me. So bringing back the question that you asked, I play bass guitar, and sometimes when I do it, I could feel the vibrational energy in my fingers. So literally, plunking those strings and feeling the whole instrument vibrate is healing for me. And I felt that for decades, and now neuroscience is coming out with FDA-approved methods of improving cognition. They have things to help people that have early onset Alzheimer's or dementia, where headsets that put out 40 hertz. Apparently, 40 hertz can cause vibrational energy and break up some of the potential amyloid B
Slow you
plaque.
down for the audience that might not know what you mean by hertz because they might be
Okay.
spelling it Hurts.
Oh,
What do
no,
you
it
mean
doesn't.
by
Yeah. Thank you. So hertz is not something that really hurts. Hertz
hertz?
is the name of the scientist that developed frequency, a measurement of frequency. So 1 hertz is really just a cycle, 1 cycle per second. How many cycles per second? So when I say 40 hertz, that's a vibration that vibrates 40 times in 1 second, which is really a low frequency, like very low. And I don't have perfect pitch, so I can't just throw that frequency out. So we are vibrational creatures. So uh, frequency and light they affect our bodies, our physiology, our minds, and we can leverage that and use it. I use red light therapy also to help heal my body. So I believe that the right frequencies, the right content, the right things that we watch are going to either nourish us and heal us, or they'll take us down a path that could be dark. I don't watch a lot of horror movies because I don't want that energy in my space. And when I say a lot, it's like I'm willing to try it. I'll eat junk food sometimes, and I think it's good to experience the contrast, like the good and some bad occasionally, just so we can appreciate what we have even more so. So I would say that um, doing some things that aren't good for us are good for us, as long as we can recover, heal, and then gain perspective that allow us to be better.
Wisdom construct is a rich idea. And I hope we've demonstrated to the audience that you will pull from many directions if people are working with you or watching you.
When
And
people are, right?
people are watching you and working with you. And I am delighted to just have had the chance. I'm going to give them a sample of your music. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you would like to say?
So Phyllis, thank you for asking the question about what also empowers me, and language does. And the minutia of language can be empowering. People develop NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. They think about the key words that will accelerate them and empower them. Words that are empowering, I think about using and even correcting. If I want to have success, maybe someday those words can be replaced with when I have a client or when the success comes. If we're talking about future base, um, don't make if be a possibility. Be assured that it's going to happen. I don't know if I explained that well. Does that make sense, Phyllis?
It does. I just want to say that people are obviously going to benefit from working with you, that there's a great gift that you give just from your authentic self. So that Wisdom Construct is a great place for people to watch you. VRR Media is your company. And I really thank you for taking your work out into the world. And I encourage people to look for your work.
But this was wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share and for you to open me up to express myself in this way.
Thank you, Ron.